Pep Talk UK. It's time!
Everyone talk good game, but it don't really faze me. The man that ain't mad like Max, the boy that not murky like Ace B. And them gal walk the slide on the back bar, like a baby.
Oi, oi! Welcome to the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast, the podcast that talks the major football and boxing news from around the globe. Real points of view from a real panel. Hashtag Real Talk on Pep Talk. I'm your host today, Frankie B, and I'm joined by a special panel today. Firstly, from the beautiful capital of France, Paris, Pascal, how are ya?
Hey Pascal, je suis dans la maison. Frankie B, I'm alright, and about you, how are you?
Mate, I'm feeling good, mate. Hip hop hooray! Ho! Hey!
Oh, hey! Oh! Ah, superb song, superb song.
Superb song, 90s.
Naughty by nature.
That's what you are, innit? Naughty by nature?
It's Frankie, is me and you in the nightclubs in London is what we do, isn't it?
Hey, Pascal, Fan TV, it was kind of lit. Did you have fun, bro?
Oh yeah, Frankie B, thank you for inviting me over. We had a very good time. It was a very pleasant evening. It was a good opportunity to make my terrestrial debut on British television. So yes, it was very good, good.
Yeah, and you got to meet Mustafi's lookalike, Toby Tarrant.
Of course, to see Shakfi Mustafi presenting in English was superb, It was an honor to have met a fellow Arsenal legend, but Toby's superb host, and he received us very well, and it was very good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was brilliant meeting Toby Mustafi. It was lit.
It was lit, yes.
Now we've got a special guest. I'd like to introduce an exciting super welterweight boxer fighting out of the boxing booth gym, Adrian Horner. How you doing, mate?
Yes, thank you, B. I like the introduction. I'm good, man. How are you?
Bruv, I'm all good. I almost messed up and called you Adrian Broner.
AB. It's quite ironic, actually. It's Adam Booth, AB, me, AB, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know you're about billions, but I almost called you that by mistake, Adrian Broner.
Right, man.
So Abraham.
Go on, yeah.
Obviously, you fought last weekend at York Hall, and you picked up a superb win.
I thought I was happy. I wasn't chuffed, but I was happy with the stoppage. The opponent wasn't great. He wasn't really throwing, but a win is a win, and I'm glad I got him out of there. And you know what? Every experience, every bit of ring craft I can get, I'm grateful for. So yeah, man.
Definitely.
Good victory.
Now, what's the future for Adrian Horner?
The future, the long term or short term?
Both, short term and long term.
Well, short term, stay busy, get one more fighting before the end of 2016, and looking into 2017. Honestly, I'm looking to knock him down, and I really want to fight for at least the English or the British title by the end of 2017, early 18. So if I keep up to that, then I'm happy, because you know what, time waits for no man, and as they say, by the token of time, verily man is in loss. So
that's it, and that's hashtag let's get it now.
Hashtag let's get it.
Let's get it, boss. You want to shout out your social media?
Social media, I'm only on Instagram at Abraham Horner, and I work with a gym that's called at Cardio Box, yeah, so that's it, really.
Brilliant. Pascal, you want to shout out your social media again?
Yes, of course. I'm on Twitter. For all the ladies, follow me on Twitter. And on Instagram, of course, it's Pascal _the SAD. So it's Pascal PASCAL _DE_SADE. Pascal the SAD, the bad man of Paris. Please follow at me.
Now it's time for some real talk on Pep Talk. So we're going to start with the boxing results. Firstly, we need to represent for the domestic fighters. The two headline bouts at York Hall last weekend featured Duke Micah against Matthew Chanda, and Duke Micah picked up the Commonwealth Bantamweight title. So we start with the boxing results. Firstly, we need to represent for the domestic fighters. The two headline bouts at York Hall was firstly Duke Micah beat Matthew Chanda on points for the vacant Commonwealth Bantamweight title, and Leo McKenzie suffered a first defeat to Jermaine Smiley for the English title as he lost on the scorecards. Abraham, I won't forget to mention you. You won. Do you want to repeat exactly what you said in your intro?
Yeah, basically I won the fight on a TKO, technical knockout. I stopped the kid in the 5th round, 1 minute 29 seconds of the 5th, and it was a pleasing victory. Man. I put some severe body shots in, and I could feel that he was winced out. The ref looked at him, I looked at the ref like, come on, and he did stop it. So he did him a favour and did me the favour, because I didn't want to, hurt the kid.
Okay, so basically you didn't want to go on Aggie, basically.
Yeah, man. I mean, if the boot's on the foot, you don't really need to go on Aggie, as you said. But if he's bringing it, then you bring it. If someone's bringing it, then you will bring it. But if they're not bringing it to the table and you can see it, then that's it, man. Go home, take your money, and just, and come back another day.
And just be calm. Just calm it.
Yeah, and calm, man. And that's it, calm.
Brill. Now we're going to talk about the biggest boxing stories. Danny Garcia warmed up for his March 17 clash with Keith Thurman with a 7th round stoppage over Samuel Vargas. Now, Pascal, after the fight, Keith Thurman confronted Danny Garcia in the ring.
Yes.
Do you think Garcia sent a convincing message to Thurman with that performance?
If I'm truly honest, that performance was an exhibition performance. Look, he was there to make, Garcia look good in front of the home crowd of Philadelphia. For him it was a bit of a homecoming, and to showcase his skill to the crowd. But never once in the fight Garcia was troubled by Vargas in any way, shape or form. From the very beginning, Garcia controlled the fight. And with some very, very bad, meaningful shots with bad intentions, and he wanted to take out his opponent to please the crowd, and it was a very good crowd-pleasing fight. But one thing I realized is Garcia didn't throw that many jabs. He was very much going for the hooks and for the power punches, and he really punished Vargas quite badly. But in my opinion, the fight with Thurman is going to be even more difficult because, Danny Garcia's movement isn't not always the best. I felt that, his footwork, could have done with a bit more fluidity. Thurman moves around the ring a lot better. And, if Thurman can study the performance against Lamont Peterson, you'll find that Lamont Peterson frustrated Garcia very much so. Garcia didn't really know what to do. And towards the end of the fight, Peterson, I think, lost the fight because he didn't get busy earlier on. But if Peterson moved and if Peterson counterpunched Garcia, he might have just taken that decision. We know that Thurman is a very experienced boxer, very, very good footwork, and also has the power to trouble Garcia. So I expect a very interesting fight, and Garcia could potentially lose the fight. So Garcia is going to have to make some very big adjustments, and to me it wasn't the right kind of fight to take before the Thurman fight. The Vargas fight was a bit too easy. The very good fight for Garcia, who should have been to fight against Andre Berto. Berto would have given him a much more difficult fight. Course, if Garcia beat Berto convincingly, he would have probably given himself better opportunity to go into the fight with Thurman with a lot more confidence. It's a bit like Barcelona playing Burnley, beating Burnley, and then having to play Manchester United or Arsenal for the next game. It's not the same. It's very difficult, for Garcia to really take this performance and to say, yes, I can beat Thurman with that. But listen, I'm very excited. Thurman looked a bit fat to me. He looked like he's been enjoying his long layoff. His cheeks were a bit of
Roscoe's, a bit of Denny's.
A bit of Papa John's pizza. Of course, he looked a bit. But I've got no doubt that he will lose it before the fight. But you know what, Frankie B and Abraham, for me, is the kind of this is why I love boxing so much, because we are really now going to see some very exciting fights in 2017, and I just cannot wait. I want the year to finish quickly so we can watch the fight.
But you know what? I must say, the hooks that Danny Garcia were throwing were like vicious. Like, I've named him now Captain Hook.
Of course, he's got a very, Frankie, the way he throws his hooks, Garcia throws them even without looking at the opponent, because you know what Garcia does? Garcia looks at the feet of his opponent, and once he sees the feet actually lining up in a certain way, he throws the hooks, and this is a very interesting technique, because, the great Bernard Hopkins from Philadelphia essentially explained that this is how they teach them in the gyms, in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia boxers have got their own style, and Garcia is a very much a Philadelphia boxer, and the way that those hooks are thrown, they're thrown with calculated intelligence, and it's all about looking at the feet of the opponent, but not having to look at the body, but looking at the feet. He's a very clever fighter. He's very smart, but he's going to have to pull out all of his arsenal against Thurman, because Thurman is a very good fighter also.
Yeah, and I think Meek Mill would have enjoyed the fight as well. He was ringside.
Oh yes, of course. And Iverson was there also, the basketball player. Iverson came out with the belts for Danny Garcia. So listen, it was a very good affair. And Danny Garcia is very much liked in the urban communities. Philadelphia. He's a Philly boy, as they say. So he has the respect of the streets. But Keith Thurman also has the respect of the streets of the East Coast. He's from Miami, and in Miami there's also a lot of gangsters and people that represent Keith Thurman. So it's going to be a cracking fight all round.
Yes. Now, Abraham, this is a genuine 50-50 fight. Big matchup. Thurman Garcia, baby.
Thurman Garcia. I mean, if you rewind it and look at Thurman and Porter, if you remember that fight.
Yes.
Porter was troubling Thurman a lot. And Porter doesn't hit particularly hard. So now, when it comes to Danny Garcia, and I know he doesn't jab much anyway, and yeah, he did lose. I think he did lose that fight against Peterson. I scored Peterson winning the fight, but I agree. But yeah, I think he got outboxed. But then now you got to look at it. Thurman can't box as well as Peterson, but the shots that Porter were hitting Thurman with were like scoring shots and power shots, and Danny Garcia can hit much more harder than Sean Porter. And the thing is, when you see he can move around the ring well, Thurman, he can move around the ring very, very well, but when you get hit with a big shot, it breaks your concentration, and when your concentration is broke, you're like a rabbit in the headlights. And I think that's what Danny Garcia does to a lot of his opponents, because if you've seen that kid, he hit him on the gloves and he took 2 steps back and he didn't know what was going on, and the ref, to his salvation, knew what was going on. Because when you get hit with them big shots, your concentration is broke.
You start doing a Harlem Shake in that.
You start doing a Harlem Shake, you get ready to get knocked. But yeah, it'll be a very, very interesting fight. But yeah, Thurman, he's looking very, very chubby in the face at ringside. He's looking very chubby, like he has been enjoying it. And yeah, I believe in Garcia, man. Angel Garcia, how he believes in his son, like it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if you've seen anything regarding Garcia and Crawford. I know that's a different topic, but Angel Garcia believes in his son, and it just gives you that. You believe in him because he believes in him that much. It gives you that, that realness that you think, yeah, this guy. But yeah, you don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think Thurman can hit as hard as what he makes out, because he didn't trouble Porter with any shots. And Adrian Broner dropped Porter. With a left hook.
Yeah,
if you remember that fight.
I remember that. I also think Danny Garcia also believes in his barber. I mean, that shape up was ridiculous, man.
I think Danny Garcia, I think his hairline is just, I think he's like that, man.
Believe in your barber. # believe in your barber.
You gotta believe in your barber, man. Yeah, you can't beat your barbers, man. Boy.
That's true. Now, moving on, Luis Ortiz had a lot of hype after signing to Matchroom, but was heavily criticised following last weekend's points victory over Malik Scott. Pascal,
do
you think this criticism was warranted?
Frankie B, listen, I'm very, as you know, I'm very passionate about Luis Ortiz because I've said for many weeks now, on that podcast that he's a very good fighter. Now, I was troubled by some couple of things because, as you know, Frankie B, I've got family from Africa, from Ghana, and Luis Ortiz at the weigh-in resembled my uncle Kojo, and my uncle Kojo is 45 years old. And Ortiz has the same body as my uncle Kojo, he's, and I was a bit surprised because Ortiz is supposed to be...
tacos, mate.
He looks like he's been eating a lot of jollof rice because Ortiz is supposed to be 37 years old, and I'm in my mid-30s myself, and my body looks a lot fresher than Ortiz. So I was a bit concerned, and I gave my uncle Kojo a call. I said, Uncle Kojo, are you on the television? Because I can see that you're, against, Malik Scott. He said to me, no, Mike, not the television. And I said, well, Uncle, you look very much like a boxer from Cuba, but so there is now speculation about Ortiz's age. Did he reduce his age to become, to give himself a shot at the heavyweight titles? We don't know.
What are you saying, that you tried to do a Kanu?
I think perhaps it's possible that he's doing a Kanu, and Kanu, we all know that Kanu is not 35, he's 45. so that's first question eyebrows raising is how old is really Luis Ortiz? I think there should be a Twitter hashtag, how old is Luis Ortiz? We need to find out. We want to see birth certificates, we want to see papers, we want to see everything. I think Eddie Hearn should look into that. Secondly, I think the criticism against Ortiz was actually quite bad because people forget that Malik Scott is actually a good, decent heavyweight fighter. Technically Malik Scott, is not an easy fighter to beat. Although he's lost to some very interesting fighters, he lost to Deontay Wilder, who knocked him out. He's also lost to Derek Chisora, who knocked him out. But I think for this particular fight, Malik Scott realized that the movement was troubling Ortiz. Ortiz was pretty much used to fighters who come forward. Malik Scott wasn't prepared to engage and come forward because he hasn't got that much power as a heavyweight boxer. So Malik Scott was just trying to survive, and at the same time was trying to take out, the sting out of, or the myth that King Kong is the knockout artist that he claims to be. Although we must say that Ortiz, in my opinion, did knock him out in the third or fourth round, when Malik Scott went down. The referee counted up to 14 seconds, not 10 seconds. The referee was basically urging Malik Scott to come back and to say, please, Malik, you have to fight for these people because you are looking very, very bad. And the fight, in my opinion, if you, Frankie B and Ibrahim, listen after this podcast, go back to the fight and rewind it and count, and we can all count the seconds that Malik Scott was on the ground, and it was 14 seconds. I counted 14 seconds. The referee gave Malik Scott some more opportunities. Malik Scott didn't want to be there. He just wants to collect the money. He's not interested in fighting anymore. He just wants to get as much money as he can without much damage, and it was disappointing for the boxing fans, but at the same time, Ortiz got himself 12 rounds. It was the first time in his career that we saw him go 12 rounds. Normally he knocks out all of his opponents. Okay, yes, he didn't look very well doing so, but he still got himself some good rounds out of that. And let's face it, the better the competition, the likelihood that Ortiz will have to face 12 rounds. The issue for me is the rounds that Ortiz had were very slow-paced rounds, and against a better fighter, against a better heavyweight such as David Hay perhaps, or Joshua, or even, Shannon the Cannon Briggs, would it be an interesting 12 rounds? If with Luis Ortiz, we still do not know. So I think what's interesting is we need to see Ortiz to fight again, and people are saying that Dave Allen has the opportunity to fight him on the 10th of December, and it'll be good to see a different fighter with a bit more ambition to go against Ortiz, and let's just see whether Ortiz can actually fight on the back foot or fight trying to chase down his opponent. But it's a fight like this that you have to respect Triple G, because Triple G is very good at cutting the ring, and Triple G is also very good at putting two combinations together to finish his opponent, and Luis Ortiz didn't do that. Luis Ortiz didn't cut the ring very well, in my opinion. It didn't break down Malik Scott sufficiently enough to warrant a knockout victory.
Now, Abraham, obviously you were fighting yourself at the exact same time at your call. Did you manage to catch the highlights of Ortiz and Scott?
Yeah, I managed to actually catch them, and I know he put him down 3 times, Malik, but you realise Malik's been training a long time. He's had a really change of heart to the boxing. I mean, if you look at his social media and everything, it seemed like he had a new attitude towards the boxing after his losses, and I did actually think, it's a make or break for him, Malik Scott. I mean, I know you said is it Paris? You said he's looking to collect as much money as he can.
Of course.
But I do generally think he wanted to win the fight. I mean, he did come with the intention. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people also on the flip side are criticizing Ortiz. But you got to see Ortiz hitting with some good shots, body shots. They weren't clean. He went down, he got up. He went down, he got up. But you can only fight what's in front of you sometimes. You know that the better the opponent, the better you do actually fight. I mean, Malik was making it a messy fight, just on the back foot, as he said, he didn't want to engage. He don't really look like a heavyweight to me at all. He just looks long, and he don't really look like he packs a punch at all, and he will struggle. But
Ibrahim, the statistics was showing that Malik Scott only thrown somewhere like 12 punches around. 12 punches around. I mean, if you threw 12 punches around, Adam Wolf would tell you, listen, Ibrahim, is it really, do you want to box or you want to dance? We can go.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he believed in his engine. I mean, because that's what can happen to you. I mean, you can spar, you can do all the sparring you want, but when it comes to the fight and you realise you throw the first few punches, you then realise what you need in your tank. You realise, but I don't know what he's going through that guy's head. I don't know what he's going to do next. I mean, because he's building up too much on hype. Too much hype on the Insta and the Twitter, whatever he's doing on the Facebook about his training, his pad work, his blogging, everything. I mean, you need to, you gotta concentrate. You gotta back that up, man. You gotta back that up. But I think Ortiz as well, he knew who he was fighting, so that explains the shape he was in, because I know a lot of fighters, they see who they're fighting against, and they do overlook them. And they still get the win, even though they overlook them. But they do overlook them, and they think, I don't need to train that hard. Because if you remember, Kell Brook fought Carson Jones once.
That was a great fight. Yeah,
that was a great fight. You see, then he fought him again. I think, in a rematch. And I was in the same camp, and he only trained for 4 weeks in the rematch. And I mean, I don't know what that was about, but he only trained for 4 because he knew he was going to beat him. Like, he knew what to do. Like, it was at a different weight. It wasn't even at the welterweight, so he knew he was going to beat him. So that's what fighters do. They know who they're fighting, and they don't train as hard. They still get the win, but if you don't get the win, then that's what I mean. You should never overlook any opponent, because you don't know what other guy's got in his heart. But Malik Scott, I don't know what he had in his heart.
Yeah, because people were saying that. I know you're from Leicester. People were saying he was running around the ring like Kante used to do for Leicester.
Right, man. I mean, yeah. I think Ortiz is a good fighter, though. You can't take it away from him just because of that. You cannot take it away, because I
agree, but I still think Ortiz is very dangerous. Don't sleep on Ortiz.
Don't sleep on Ortiz. Yeah.
I literally did fall asleep on Saturday night. I swear.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. Heavyweights are like that. I mean, once heavyweight fight gets past 8 rounds and they're not in elite shape, then it's just going to be a very, very boring fight, because heavyweights they're like 8-round fighters, aren't they? They're not 12 round. Not really all of them are 12-round fighters. So
yeah. Well, moving on. Now we're going to talk about the big one in Las Vegas this upcoming weekend. Viva Las Vegas. Andre SOG Ward fights Sergey the Crusher Kovalev in Las Vegas. Now, Abraham, who are you tipping for this titanic unification clash?
I'm going with my boy Andre Ward.
Yes.
Definitely. I have to go with him. I mean, I know Kovalev is, as they say, a crusher, and he's from where he's from, and he had it very hard. I don't know if you've watched the series. My Fight or The Fight on HBO. Have you seen that?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah. Take a look at that. But it basically just shows the backgrounds and, you know, the path.
Okay.
And very, very similar paths they've both had. But I just see Andre Ward I can't see him being beat. I just can't see him getting beat.
It's too slick.
He's too slick, he's too smart, too sharp, and I just don't see him getting beat. Whereas Kovalev he's a big crusher.
Brutal,
he's brutal, man. Straight brute strength, but he makes a lot of mistakes. But he's got a lot of as well in his archive he can pull out the bag as well. So it's just one of them fights where it's gonna be like, you know what I mean, your heart's gonna be beating in your chest and you're gonna be feeling it.
And you know, online a lot of people are calling this fight in Street Fighter terms Balrog versus Zangief.
Okay.
That's the hashtag online, Balrog versus Zangief. Now, Pascal, Andre Ward versus Kovalev. Who you tipping?
You know, Frankie Bay, for the very first time, I'm actually not too sure what the outcome of the fight is going to be. I mean, look, I'm a very big fan of Andre Ward. You know, and Delphine loves Andre Ward. She doesn't know anything about his boxing skills, just other than he looks nice. That's what she says all the time. So Delphine very much wants Andre Ward to win. I like Sergey Kovalev also. You know, I like his aggression. To know Kovalev when he beat Cleverly, you know, when he beat Nathan Cleverly in athletic fashion, that was an absolute beauty of a knockout, you know. And I followed his path very closely, where he fought a few Canadian fighter, you know, Jean Pascal. Was also a very good fight in Canada when he beat him twice, you know. It's a very good fight. And also the latest fight against Chilemba was also very interesting because Chilemba took him 12 rounds, and that Chilemba fight essentially made him realize that he had to step up his training for Andre Ward, because Andre Ward would have certainly been far more of a challenge than Chilemba. And, you know, Chilemba exposed Sergey Kovalev quite well, you know, during that fight. Sergey didn't knock him out. So, again, the myth of knockout certainly was taken out, you know, and Sergey relies on that. I think a lot of boxers who are knockout specialists rely on the fact that if I knock out my opponents all the time, you know, it becomes very much the mark, and the other fighter becomes concerned because he doesn't want to get knocked out. But the moment that you can take a knockout specialist 12 rounds, you know, it begins to affect the knockout fighter, because he doesn't understand why he hasn't been able to knock out his opponent in 12 rounds. And I think Triple G will have suffered the same fate if we find a fighter that can last with him 12 rounds. So I think for Sergey Kovalev, he's preparing himself very well for this fight, and he's going to make sure that if he has the opportunity to trouble Andre Ward, he will do that. But at the same time, he has to find Andre Ward. Andre Ward is not the easiest opponent to hit. He's not the easiest opponent to find in the ring, you know, and Andre Ward is also a very intelligent fighter. But Andre doesn't have the power of Sergey Kovalev.
It's a points win. It's a points win all day, isn't it?
I think it's going to be a very interesting chess match. You know, it's going to be a chess match, high-speed chess, as they like to call it. And Andre will smother Sergey Kovalev's attacks. You know, Andre is very good at throwing shots and smothering the attacks very well. And Andre throws a very interesting jab, you know, where, you know, he dips, you know, before he throws the jab, he dips and he somehow turns you know, a body shot into a jab, and he's very good at doing that. And he's also adopted recently the Floyd Mayweather jab to the body. You know, he does that very well to, you know, to frustrate his opponent. And, you know, it could be on the other hand, you know, our good friend Spencer Ferrand believes that Andre Ward will inflict a boxing lesson on Kovalev. I think Kovalev can box, you know, he showed me that against Bernard Hopkins, that he was able to fight and to box very well. So it's going to be a very interesting match. And, you know, I'm sorry, gents, but to me it's a 50-50 fight, you know. It's a 50-50 fight. I cannot call it. I really cannot call it. My heart says Andre Ward, because I think he's a fantastic fighter, fantastic human being also, you know, he's the kind of man that you'll be your friend, you know, he's a very good guy. Sergey Kovalev, also a very good fighter, very aggressive, and from a boxing point of view, he's a total boxer, you know, he goes out there, puts on the performance, wants to knock out his boxer, but I really can't call it, you know, I truly believe it's a 50-50 fight, truly believe it.
Me too, and I've just got to, like, recite Lamar, the singer Lamar, right about now I'm 50-50. Now, guys, like more seriously, we've got to mention the UFC superstar Conor McGregor. He beat Eddie Alvarez in 2 rounds. Now, Abraham, you've got to be pretty impressed with Conor McGregor's stand-up boxing skills.
I'll tell you, plain and honestly, I didn't watch the fight. However, I've not watched any of Conor McGregor's fights except from the highlights.
Yes.
But what I will say is that his upskill boxing skills are phenomenal. I could just tell by the angles he came in and he put the guy down. And a few of his previous fights and the highlights I've seen, his stand-up, his weight, he should have been a boxer.
Of course,
but what attracts me about, what I love about McGregor is his interviews more than anything.
And like his whole character, his whole demeanor, his social media, the interest that guy attracts is incredible. He's got a great he's got a great sporting personality.
He has, you know, and it's kind of like you don't know if he's being for real or he's not being for real. So you give him the benefit of the doubt when he says, you know, like distasteful things that people might think that's distasteful. For example, when he was talking to Diaz on a TV show once, he said, "Go get some coffee. We're talking about money here. We'll go get some coffee." I mean that's a bit distasteful to me, but you don't know if he's being serious or not. So you gotta laugh at it, and you know, and he's got the Irish accent, which adds to everything for some reason.
He's got that House of Pain. He's got that House of Pain thing going on, you know.
Nah, that's it. He's got it going on, man. He's got it going on because you know what? He's made history, hasn't he? You know, he's made history. He's
two-weight champion, yeah.
Two-weight champion. I mean, you can't compare him to Mayweather one bit because I've seen a little clip Mayweather saying, "How can you compare a man that's took a defeat and has only mastered 2 weight classes, where I've mastered 5 weight classes, and I've been dominating the sport for 20 years, and he's been not even dominating the sport because he's lost in the past year on." So you can't compare him to Mayweather. As Mayweather said, he's an elephant. He don't war with ants. That's what he said. That's what he said. But you gotta take your hat off to McGregor because you know he's putting in his work, isn't he?
He's putting in the work, certainly, and he made light work of Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
Now,
there you go.
Okay, guys. Now it's interview time. Our boxing correspondent Shaz Chowdhury managed to catch up with a talented array of boxing talent, which was A.D. Burden, Ramez Mahmood, and super welterweight Adrian Martin.
Pep Talk UK are joined by another young fighter, A.D. Burden. How you doing, A.D.?
Yeah, I'm not bad. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, A.D., you're 2-0. I've seen you at your first fight. I've seen you at your second fight. What got you into boxing?
Just really liked a bit of a scrap, to be fair. And my dad was like, "Go to boxing and you get to have a fight." I was like, "Alright, wicked." I didn't actually aim to fight like for competition. I just wanted to do it, have a little bit of a spar, get fit, and then obviously turned out I was quite good at it.
What weight are you fighting at?
Light heavyweight.
You're a big lad, aren't you? You're towering over me even when we speak.
Yeah, I'm 6'3", so big for the weight.
Where are you training now? What club?
Vista Boxing Club.
Vista Boxing Club. And who's training you?
Dad's at Usher.
2016's nearly over. You've had 2 fights this year. You've debuted, and then you had another fight at York Hall, which you won. What can we expect from you in 2017?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have a little break, be with my little girl, and hopefully in 2017 I can just keep building and eventually get like a challenge belt and go from there and just work my way up the rankings, to be fair.
You're signed with Goodwin at the moment, am I right?
Yes.
And Steve, I've seen Stephen Goodwin has brought through a lot of fighters, so I feel you're in good hands. What's your training regime like on a weekly basis?
Well, I'm in the gym like 4 days a week, and I have to obviously go to work and then fit my training around my job, and that's it really.
Popular lad is A.D. Burden. He's got a fan following wherever he goes. No, so you were saying your training regime 5 days a week?
Yeah, and I just got to obviously work it around my job, and it's hard, but it's something I've got to do. if I love doing it, then I'll always do it.
Now, AD, for people that don't know who you are or haven't seen anything of you, if they want to follow you on social media, what's your Twitter handle, what's your Insta handles?
My Twitter and Insta are the same as ADI_Burden, and my Facebook is AD Burden Professional Boxer.
I've been lucky enough to watch both your fights. Pep Talk UK will be following your career. We wish you the best of luck, and we reckon Aylesbury may have a champ on their hands.
Hopefully all the others are rubbish.
Well, take care, AD. Straight talking, AD. We'll speak to you soon.
Nice one, thank you, anytime.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
I'm joined today by Ramez Mahmood. How you doing, Ramez? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm always well. Thank you for coming on and talking to us at Pep Talk UK. We've come down to see you because you're getting ready for your second fight, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct. I had a good night on the 24th of September, and I want to continue that in December the 3rd.
Now, you talked about your previous fight. That was your debut. You had quite a bit of a fan following with you.
Yeah.
You're looked after by Mickey Moo. How was it making your debut?
I thought I'd be more nervous than I was. I was just relaxed. I trained really hard, and it's a moment I've been waiting for since I was about a 10-year-old kid. So I went out there, enjoyed the moment, and gave a good performance for all the people there.
What got you into boxing?
It's hard to say. I just remember one time when I was about 10 years old, sitting with my dad watching a boxing match. I think it was Amir Khan, Willie Limon, or something like that. Well, I think it was Amir Khan in the Olympics. And I thought, I'd give that a go. My mum and dad thought, we'll take him to the gym, he'll get a punch in the nose and he'll give it up. So went down to Gate ABC in Hainault, started off, took my punches, gave them out, and I stayed with Gate ABC all the way through. I had my whole amateur career with them, and I thought at the age of 22 was the right time to go pro.
What weight are you fighting at?
I compete at super bantamweight.
Now, you are in a gym at the moment that you've got a lot of good sparring. Who have you been sparring?
I've got loads of good sparring. I sparred with Josh Nelson down there. We've got Duke down there, who's fantastic for sparring. Probably
that's Duke Mika.
Duke Mika, fantastic boxer, very good for sparring. And if need be, we do go out to other gyms and spar as well. So I'm not short of sparring.
Now, in terms of a nickname, you do have a nickname in the gym. What's your nickname?
They call me the Mexican in the gym because of all the wars we have. it does suit my style, but yeah, it's good.
And who's training you at the moment?
I'm working with Carl Loco and Michael Mahmood with Deku Jr., and they're both quality coaches. I rate them so highly, and they've brought me on so much in the past couple of months.
Now, I know you've got a fight coming up. It's your second fight. Where's your fight? And if someone wants to come and get a ticket, where can they get tickets from?
It's on December the 3rd at the York Hall in Bethnal Green. For tickets, you can get in hold of me on Facebook, Ramez Mahmood, Instagram, Ramez M1, or Twitter, Ramez_Mahmood94. Or alternatively, look on iboxingtickets.co.uk.
Ramez, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to have a chat with Pep Talk UK. Much. We wish you all the best with your career, and we'll be watching it closely.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks.
Pep Talk UK are joined by a very young fighter, Mr. Adrian Martin. How are you doing, Adrian?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you doing, Shaz? You alright?
I'm always well. Better for seeing you. Adrian, I've seen a few of your fights now. Your last fight was against a chap called Harjinder Gill.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
You stopped him. I think you even put him down.
Yeah, I did in the second round, yeah.
I spoke to Harjinder after your last fight.
Yeah.
Would you believe that's probably the first time he's been down in his career?
It did surprise me, but you know, I didn't realise that I had that kind of punch power. I guess, you know, I wasn't a puncher as an amateur. I knew I could punch relatively hard, but I guess timing showed. I think it come down to that. Me and my coach have been working on that punch throughout the whole training camp, and I pulled it off perfect. And yeah, it was good.
Now, what weight do you fight at?
Super welterweight.
And you mentioned your coach. Who's your coach?
Joseph Taylor.
And where are you training?
Right, we're training in Oxo's gym in Birds Green. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's our little gym. It's our little secret location.
And I've seen you do a bit of sparring. Who have you been sparring?
I've been sparring with Linus Udofia, Brad Pauls, Sean Robinson, Luke Robinson as well. Done a little bit with Kate Prosper. I've been sparring with Taylin Jones as well, a lad called Khan Hawes as well. So I've been sparring a big array of people. A lot of the time has been down at Club KO in Buckerstill, Terry Still.
Now, you know I know Club KO very well because I seem to live out there.
Yeah, it's a good club there. It's a good gym. Very nice lads, very good boxers. You know, it's always a great experience going down there. You've got to turn up.
Now, you were supposed to fight on the 12th of November. I was expecting to see you fight, but that fight isn't happening. Why is it not happening?
Basically, there's been a query on with regards to my medicals. The Boxing Board of Control needed to get a second opinion on my brain scan. I don't know exactly the details of what's shown up or what it is. They said something wasn't 100%. It doesn't sound too serious, and I'm guessing they're just making sure that there isn't anything there for my safekeeping. You know, I'm glad that in the sport that I'm in, there is such high standards of medical care, because it is a dangerous sport and people do get seriously hurt. So I'm glad that they go to the extra lengths of making sure that you're medically cleared to fight. Just waiting to hear the good news now. Hopefully, God willing, all goes well. Looking at March.
You're 3-0. We're waiting for you to get back in the ring in March to make it 4-0, and we'll all be supporting you along for that.
Cheers, man. Cheers, yeah. 4-0.
As you know, at Pep Talk UK, we've got a French panelist called Pascal. The reason why I'm mentioning Pascal is, Pascal, maybe you don't even know that Adrian is half French, aren't you, Adrian?
Oui, je suis moitié français. Bonjour, Pascal.
Pascal, what's he talking about?
I just said hello.
That was a very long hello there. Is there a code word going on between you and Pascal?
I did say thank you as well.
Well, Adrian, we wish you all the best with your career. We hope to see you back in the ring early 2017. And again, you've got all the Pep Talk UK behind you. Now, before we sign off, people that want to catch up with you on Twitter, on Instagram, what are your handles so they give you a follow?
Okay, so on Twitter, it's Adrian Martin. Instagram is Adrian Martin 1, and on Facebook, just catch me on my like page. It's Adrian A. Martin.
Now, ladies, give that a follow, because he's a good-looking lad as well, and he's a bit French.
Cheers, but don't, because my girlfriend will kill me.
Well, thank you very much, Adrian. You're always a pleasure to speak to, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Shaz. Now it's football time. Football time. It's been International Week, and England managed to beat Scotland 3-0 and draw 2-2 with Spain tonight. Pascal, what is your overall assessment of the two games, and shall we just give Gareth Southgate the job now?
Well, Frankie, very interesting questions. Let's just face it, and let's be very honest. Did we expect England to beat Scotland? Of course. You know, the half of the Scottish team was also as drunk as the supporters when they came and played on Friday night at Wembley Stadium. So, you know, the England team played the Scottish team that was probably half drunk on Guinness and all sorts of Scottish whiskey. So we expect England to beat Scotland. Now, what's more frustrating for the English fans is that England wins against Spain for very much the longest part of the game. And the last, 10 minutes of the game, we now have an opportunity for the Spanish team to come and to draw and to score 2 goals in the penultimate stages of the game. And I think that will frustrate the English fans very much, because, England fans want to see back-to-back victories for England against the smaller teams, but also against the biggest teams. So we need to understand why England are performing well against the lesser teams and not so well against the bigger teams. And in my opinion, it's just because that there's still very much a mental block in the England team, where they don't quite believe that they are up there with the rest of the best and the rest of the teams in world football. It's a bit like when Tottenham still don't believe that they are better than Arsenal and want to become better than Arsenal. And until Spurs have this belief that they can compete at the highest level, they'll start playing like a very big team. And England, I believe, are suffering from that mental block, And as a result of that, Spain was able to come back 2 goals from behind in the later stage of the game, which is really, really disappointing. But in terms of Gareth Southgate, let's give him some credit. I think that the England team deserves a very young manager, and Gareth Southgate, has produced some good results. Let's not be hard on him. 2-2 draw against Spain, the ex-world champions, the ex-European champions. They still very much have a good team, a young squad, very talented, and I think it's a good opportunity for England to say, okay guys, we did really well against them. We drew 2-2 at home, we should have really put the game away, but you know, at least we can score 2 goals against a very good team, and let's see where we went wrong, and we can maybe make those adjustments later on in proper competitions.
And I think they need to all be in the gym with Adam Booth, maybe your trainer.
That's it, man. That's what you need, man. You need a close-knit team, man. You need to really spirit them on, man. Keep them positive, keep them believing, man, because I don't know what's going on, man. When all this happens, always, man. It's always the case, isn't it, though?
Yeah, always flopping in the big tournaments.
Right, you know, gentlemen, it's a very good point, you know. Perhaps having the boxing kind of coach and mentor, because you know, when you look at the sport of boxing sometimes, you know, there are opportunities where during the fight you are the offensive fighter, you are breaking down the opponent, and then in midway through the fight your opponent comes back and you are the fighter on the ropes, and some fighters tend to panic when they are on the ropes because they're not in that position, and that's when you have to dig deep, you know, you have to bite in your gum shield and you start throwing punches back. And I think the mental adversity, it's pretty much what the England squad needs to develop, you know. When England are in the back seat and on the back, you know, against the ropes, they need to dig deep and need to believe that they can actually go out there and take out their opponents, you know. And it's not a bad shout, you know, introducing somebody from the boxing world to kind of build up the mental stamina that is required, because I mean most of the England players are very good fit players, but mentally are they able to withstand the 90 minutes of concentration, you know, the attitude that is required to win a game is the same attitude that is required to win a fight. You know, you have to be in there from the first round to the very last round, and the England team needs to do the same thing, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But do you think it come down to a thing of, do they really want it? Is it?
Yeah. Can they be bothered, basically?
Can they be bothered, or do they just know they got, you know, they've got so much money? I mean, do they need it? Do they need to really win? Is that what goes through their head, or I don't know? But I don't know how hungry they are as well.
Okay, well, let's talk about some real exciting football. Let's talk about the Premiership. Now, this weekend, it's a massive game between Manchester United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford. Mourinho versus Wenger. Pascal.
Way.
No Ibra. No Smalling. No Bailey. Surely Arsenal are favourites this time.
I don't think so, Frankie B. If you remember, last season there was a young brother by the name of Rashford who scored 2 goals against a very depleted, against a very good Arsenal side actually, but depleted Manchester United side, and it was a game that Arsenal fans expected to win, and Arsenal ended up losing the game. And if I'm brutally honest with you, as I said last week, I believe that the game will either be a draw or will be a win for Manchester United. You know, it doesn't really matter, you know, who Arsenal play at Manchester away from home. You know, the under-21 team could be played for Manchester United, and Arsenal will struggle to break them down. You know, Arsenal's result in history at Old Trafford is not always that of good results, you know. So I expect Mourinho also to make sure that Arsenal do not leave Manchester with 3 points. So I think it's going to be a very, very difficult game, very tight game, and I expect a draw. A goalless draw, nil-nil draw, or a Manchester United to beat Arsenal 2-1. That would be my prediction for the game, you know, because Manchester are not too far away now from the top 4. Mourinho knows that if there's any opportunity to win points against a big rival, is Arsenal. He really relishes the opportunity to play against Arsenal. He's been planning for this, opportunity for this game for a very long time, and I believe that the game now would be for Mourinho to take it, to frustrate Wenger. And we are in November. November is also a very difficult time for the Arsenal calendar, and Arsenal also, Wenger will also have his eye on the PSG game, you know, against Paris Saint-Germain the following week, and I think that he wants to make sure that Paris are beaten as well at the Emirates Stadium. So we don't know what kind of team Wenger will be playing. And it always seems to be the case for Arsenal. They always have a very difficult domestic game before a very difficult Champions League game. But hey, let's wait and see what Wenger is going to do. But let's not forget that Arsenal also without Sanchez, you know, And after the outcome of the England-Spain game, we also have to wait and see whether there are any injuries or casualties of after the international friendlies. France game,
there is. There is already. Bellerin is a doubt, and also Sanchez is training with a massive strap around his hamstring.
But that means Sanchez potentially will not be risk, and I think he should be rested, or maybe he'll be on the bench. But also we need to think about the defense, Koscielny, Mustafi, there's going to be some very interesting changes. So I really don't expect Arsenal to shine, but let's give them an opportunity, let's support the team, and hopefully Arsenal can do the job. But I won't hold my breath on that.
Abraham, Wenger versus Mourinho is the footballing equivalent to Dillian White versus Derek Chisora. How
two managers.
They hate each other, right? Absolute hate.
I've heard. I don't know. What do you think has Arsenal's performance been like this season? What would you say?
I think Arsenal have done well this season. They've changed a lot of the personnel. They've got a lot more.
Did they have a bad start? Did they have a bad start though? A rocky start?
They had a very bad first game, but after that things settled down. They brought in some new players, and at the moment Arsenal's team are playing well, but it's this time of year that Arsenal tend to falter away. So I'm going to be interested to see if Arsenal are going to lay down a marker. It's going to be a massive game, and like I said, the two managers hate each other, so there's interest in that alone.
I hear that. Well, I do see Arsenal coming through, because I've always had a thing about Arsenal as well. Like, my friends support Arsenal, and he's from Leicester, but I never got that why other people from different cities support other people's teams. But because he supports Arsenal and he's always, he's talking highly about them, I do see them pulling through.
Well, a quick word on your hometown team, Leicester. Now they play Watford. I know you're not really a football man, but it's your hometown. Do you think Leicester are going to do well this season? Are they going to emulate last season's form?
To be fair, I think
it was a fluke. Come on.
I think that was their last hurrah. To be fair, I think that was it. Like, they put everything in, and they just couldn't keep it up. They couldn't keep they couldn't keep up that work rate, and I just don't see them doing it this season. But I think they'll still do well. They'll beat their Watford. I think they'll beat Watford, but I just don't see them as hungry as they were. They ain't running with it anymore. They had that momentum, and the momentum was a very dangerous thing. Momentum, you can't break it. Once you can't break it, that's it. But I don't see them mirroring what they did last season. But I hope they do, because I'm from Leicester.
That's it for us, guys. I'd like to thank Abraham Horner, and I'd like to thank Pascal. Join us again next week for another Pep Talk UK podcast. Boom.
Pep Talk UK.
Please follow us on social media. On Twitter, it's at Pep Talk _UK, and Instagram, it's Pep Talk _UK.